Alright guys, so this is Prepared Militant Chef coming at you. I think I might be releasing 2 videos today. Want to hit y'all with some stuff. We got the 4 corners. They're going to represent 4 B's today. So over here it's going to be beans, bullets, band-aids, buddies. Right? So, I think this represents a lot of you. You have a 72-hour pantry and some MREs. And over here, you've got 3 AR-15s, 2,000 5.56. Maybe you have some armor, right? Maybe you have armor. And it's simply going to be AR-500. And you've got some NVGs, because those have been getting talked about all the time lately. So you got your beans, your bullets, and you've got an IFAK. And you've got, over here, you've got AUV5R. Alright, so this side's kind of lopsided, and I want to address the lopsidedness. The way I look at it is circles. So your first circle is going to be 3 seconds. And 3 seconds tends to be like very you-centric, very local, very personalized. So think like everyday 3-second survival situations would be car accident, and I know some people this has happened to. They get in a car accident and they break their right femur, or their left femur, or both their femurs. You break a femur, there's a very high likelihood that you have nicked the femoral artery. So emergency medicine is going to be super important here. If you're in an active shooter situation at the mall here, if you notice on 3 seconds, I put 2 ticks, try to make that a little bit more well known. One's pointing towards bullets, one's pointing towards band-aids, right? Because that's kind of where that stuff lies. 3 minutes. And I know this is all lopsided and stuff, whatever. But 3 minutes could be a house fire, right? You got to get out of the house real quick. In that situation, what you're going to need, you're going to need some emergency medicine probably. Going to need some burn creams. You're going to need some aloes. You're going to need some CPRs. You're going to need some, like, whatever that medicine is that makes you chill out, right? You're also going to need to be able to communicate with people, right? If your house is on fire and your house is not the firehouse, you need the firehouse stuff to come to you. So you need commo. You may, depending on the situation, right? School shooting or a shooting in general, it's going to be 7 minutes till the cops get there. So you may need some gun stuff, right? So after 3 minutes, we come out to 3 hours. All right. And like this stuff's like, once again, this is all very localized, right? If the stock market collapses tonight or Monday or whatever, right? We're gonna skip all this, right? There may be some panic, and that may create indirect waves, but the stock market collapsing isn't going to directly impact this. And if something happens, I'm very much on the East Coast. If something happens very much on the West Coast, it's probably not going to have an effect on me in the first 3 seconds. If something happens in London, it's not going to have a real big effect on me in the first 3 seconds. So 3 hours. Okay. So let's back up. Let's go back to 3 seconds for a second. There's a terrorist attack. The terrorists have attacked. Right. Oh. You're in the middle of a terrorist attack. They've let's go 9/11. Right. Probably not going to need this. Probably not going to need the gun stuff right now. Probably going to need a little bit of this. Probably don't need this. Because if there's a terrorist attack, you don't need to call anybody right away. You do need to get out of the area and then call people or have rendezvous points. But like in that first 3 seconds, it's like, figure out where it's at and go the opposite direction. Food's not a real big issue the first 3 seconds of a terrorist attack. 3 minutes, food's not an issue. Depending on the type of terrorist attack, you may get a shot off. I don't know. 3 minutes, you're gonna want to start calling people. Be like, hey, where you at? Go to location Alpha. We're gonna militia stuff. I don't know. We didn't plan for this, but we're gonna militia. Woo! You might need some emergency medicine depending on where you're at that point in time. 3 hours. I was a kid during 9/11. But like in my head, I very much remember the pictures of women holding their high heels as they walk across bridges. And so, like, if you just went from your office job to walking across whatever bridges are in that part of New York City, food might become an issue. If the terrorist attack is active for 3 hours, oh Jesus! Oh Lord, baby Jesus! Right, like we all understand that the terrorist attacks of 9/11 were individual. They were joined, but they were individual and they were quick. So if people are like running around and shooting you, and you have to shoot back for 3 hours, oh Jesus, you need marksmanship training. Or there's a lot of them, and I will happily come from my southeast corner to your not southeast corner and help you go, no, bang, 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 right? I'm a goofy little asshole, whatever. Combo is going to be pretty important in this one, guys. Combo is going to be really important. You have to be able to recognize something's happened, implement a plan, and if you're going to implement a plan, that means you already have a plan. So pre-planning is a massive thing. Still, emergency medicine is going to be a thing. You might want to secure the area. So, at 3 hours, we, for the first time ever, have all 4 things potentially be an issue. 3 days. Alright? So, this has become more global. Or more regional, at least. Stock markets have collapsed. EBT shut down. My debit card, your debit card aren't working. Only a few stores are open, and you gotta have cash, or you gotta trade with the owner, and you gotta know the owner to get in. That sort of thing. So at that point, you better have food. If people can't get groceries, and you have groceries, you gotta be able to protect those groceries. In a situation like that, lots of dumb stuff's gonna happen. And you're going to need some sort of medicine, right? And at this point, an IFAC doesn't cut it. Okay? At this point, what we see is you need prolonged care, right? Or you need the ability to bury a lot of people, which is something we don't talk about. I'll hit that real quick. If you foresee a world-altering event, you got to know how to dispose of bodies. You got to know how you're going to dispose of bodies. I will say that every Indian tribe had their own unique way of doing it. Some of that was like they made platforms that went really high in the air and they set the body. Tibetan sky funerals are similar. They'll feed bodies to vultures. That may not be your jam. I will say this: if people are dead in their house and I come across a rigor mortis is set in and there's flies eating their eyeballs, I know that's dark, right? But if that sort of stuff has happened, a lighter goes a long way, because at that point, those bodies are a biohazard, and it's possible that house is now a biohazard. And biblically speaking, there's two ways to clean things: water and fire. And fire is just going to probably be your better bet in that situation. 3 days in, combo is going to be a big deal. You're going to want to monitoring sources. You're going to want to be able to talk to people. You're going to want information. And combo comes in a lot of ways, right? Whistles, right? Clapping of hands, anything that allows you to communicate with somebody. If me and you have a code that this is good and this is shoot the shit out of that person, if I go, we've comboed, we have communicated, we have figured out what's needed and done it. That sort of thing, right? And I think 3 days, we're going to be like, if we're in a true shit hit the fan scenario for 3 days, it's going to be Mad Max in the Thunderdome, at least for a while, right? There will be checkpoints, there will be close-knit communities, there will be lots of dead people. In my mind, if things go catastrophic for 3 days, power's gone. And the CDC's come out a few times, and at one point, they said a year into no electricity and 85% of the world is dead, right? And then at another point, they came out and said 95, and recently they said 93. So we go from almost 9 billion people to less than 500 million. That's a really big deal, guys. That's a really big deal, right? So if we hit the 3 day mark, especially here in America, and it's widespread, this is where things get really interesting. 90 days. And for me, 90 days is real interesting, because at 90 days, you cannot stock water for your entire family for 90 days. So a case of water, right, the 40 16.9 ounce bottles is one person, 1 day. Okay? So at that point, we add another B, and that is beverage. Alright? At this point, rain catchment or wells or having close by river sources that you can then treat. If you don't have a way to treat it and it's not close by, it don't exist, homie. And at this point, like, your 72-hour pantry and your MREs are going to start taking a hit, so you need to be aware of that. Something I want to note over here: your NVGs only last so long if you don't have solar panels or a way to charge them. Your IFAC is done. Your IFAC is gone at this point, unless you're really good at hiding, which I think you should be. Once again, your UV5R is dead if you don't have a way to charge that battery after 72 hours. So we're at the 90-day mark, and you better have, if you're going to make it in 90 days, you should probably have water catchment. Your 72-hour pantry and your MREs are done. And what am I getting at here? So at 90 days, it's no longer prepping for the event, it's prepping past the event, right? So if lights went out for 72 hours, now we're at 90 days, and you should have chickens and large pantry and gardens. Alright, so I'm a little, when it comes to food, and when we start to get to medium to long term preparedness, I get really iffy about hunting. And the reason I get really iffy about hunting is I know during the Great Depression we almost hunted white-tailed deer to extinction, and now, we hit them with our cars and stuff. That's a James Yeager quote. But if we lose 93% of our population, that takes us down to about World War One population, somewhere between Civil War population and World War One population, in the United States. So I'm not sure if hunting is viable because I'm not sure. I have the tools to do it, but it's not my main plan, if that makes sense. So over here on the side, we hunt, fish, that sort of thing. Your 2,000 rounds of ammo probably ain't gonna do a whole lot. Your armor's probably been used. Your NVGs have probably been used. And your armor's probably been used because you're a freaking hothead. Your armor's been used because your nose is the color of your neighbor's asshole. Your armor's been used because you make bad life decisions. More than likely. Your IFAK's done. Your radio's been done. I hope that you have an extra 10,000 rounds of ammo and some cleaning stuff. And maybe instead of 3, 2 ARs. And I wholeheartedly, 100% think that this pistol brand stuff is not, pistol brace band stuff is nonsense. See these freaking lanky arms? I want a 16-inch barrel. And I know going into rooms with an AR pistol is easier than an AR rifle. I'm not room clearing, and I'm more qualified than you are, dum-dum. Don't make bad life decisions, because you won't see 90 days. So let's talk about your house in 90 days. And all of this stuff needs to happen, now. 1, don't live in the cities. I just spent a decade of my life, I'll say it, spent a decade of my life in Norfolk. I left about a year and a half ago because of all the nonsense and all the lack of jobs, right? Famine and bullshit makes me leave. Garden sprouts, chickens, all that should be happening now. If you think that you're going to rise to the occasion in agriculture, you're going to starve to death. And if that's your plan, I promise I'll come visit you 6 months after the event and take all of your stuff and burn your house because you've turned it into a biohazard. I'm saying this on the internet, but if you think that you can spin up agriculture like that, you're wrong. So another alternative to this, and it's what I did for a very long time. It's not as good an idea as having a homestead or having a garden spot and some chickens. It's not nearly as good an idea. Copious amounts of corn, rice, wheat, beans, mixed with copious amounts of canned food, mixed with Mountain House, right? We have all that here. But we're also spinning up agriculture. Here, parts kits and having 2 rifles with part kits and copious amounts of ammo and batteries and is probably a lot better. Well, it is a lot better than having 3 or 5 ARs, especially if your 2 ARs are high quality. Because I got some Palmetto State stuff. I love Palmetto State. It's not really gonna. I don't know. They may last through all this that's coming. All right. So medical stuff here. What we're gonna find is having some common sense, paying attention to what you're doing, not doing dumb stuff, not going where the dumb people are. Is gonna save your butt. Right. I'm trying not to cuss, but it's gonna save your butt. It's gonna make you more survivable, that sort of thing. But training and consumables. So training and consumables. I don't care where you go. TCCC, CPR, first responder, that sort of stuff is gold. If you want to go get your EMT, I haven't, so I'm not going to tell you to. Probably should. You probably should, but whatever. So there's that. And then here, I personally believe that, like, I want solar panels, but I want solar panels for our shed because I don't want people to think that those panels are for lights. I want them to be for refrigeration, commo, and maybe night vision. But especially long-term preparedness and long-term taking this country back, commo is more important than night vision in most circumstances. Having a way to store food is far more important than being able to see at night. So we're going to make a big leap to a year, and the only thing that's changed is we're going to need more of everything. And you're going to need some people skills, right? So over here with buddies, people skills. Because if we lose 5%, if we lose 5% in the United States in a matter of 2 months, I think the Secret Service has already moved Biden out of the country. And Kamala Harris, is on a different continent than he is, and all sorts of stuff. Because if we lose 5% of the population, things will be cray-cray. But a year, once again, agriculture is going to be a big time consumer because of all your chickens and stuff. I don't really see. I think that like 3 days to 3 weeks is gonna, and I know I didn't cover 3 weeks. My bad. It's the bridge between 3 days and 3 months. It's pretty self-explanatory. 3 days to 3 weeks is gonna be very violent, in my opinion. It's gonna be where most of your death is. It's where being able to dispose of bodies is going to be a big deal. I think that point in time is going to be pretty significant for a lot of people's mental health. The next one, I'm running out of room, so I'll just make 2 semicircles. Or no, screw it. I'll just 3.5 years and 7 years. The reason is, I do not believe that I will be around for the rapture. But historically speaking, things have lasted 7 years and Jesus hasn't come back. Right? So, Joseph in the Bible, that whole thing. Nebuchadnezzar, that was 7 years. There's been a lot of stuff out west that's lasted 7 years. There's been lots of stuff in Asia and Europe that's lasted 7 years. So having 7 years of like corn, rice, wheat, and beans, I think is great. You still need to be able to homestead. At that point, I think that we're living a different lifestyle, and I think at that point I don't know. I think socially we're back to 1990. I think I think that homosexuality will fly out the window. I think that when a guy's like, yeah, I'm a lady, people will just be like, get out of town, dude. Your mental health is not going to affect my kids. Um, but I think as far as technology and lifestyle, we're going to be back to Civil War days, right? Electricity will be being spoke of. There will be some people with it, but it'll be for the elites. Civil War, World War I, that time frame. Um, Medical stuff, I just think people are going to die younger, and people are going to die um, in more horrific ways that we haven't seen in a while. It wasn't a big deal for kids to die at 15 in logging accidents. I think we're going to be back there. That sort of thing. But what I'm getting at in all this um, is at some point, all of this becomes equally important. And if you're not ready for it, if you have 30,000 rounds of ammunition and 72 hours of food, the next thing you need to buy is one of two things: food or body bags. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't have a lot of time for people's nonsense. Either you're serious about this or you aren't. And a lot of it could be that you're just not aware of history, and that's fine. But now you are. Your preps need to be well-rounded. If they're not, fix it. If you have questions, email me. It's angry prepared militant chef at Proton Mail. Is the one that I've made public for you guys. Prepared militant chef at Proton. All right. Oh, super great announcement at the real quick. I have a troll, and he's trolling some of you. So, thanks, troll boy.